Morning. Yes, I woke up this morning quite early and I was lounging in bed, so I reached across from my mobile, went onto YouTube, and Richform 04 TF and MLP put a little video up of some knockoff bots that he'd bought. So you could say this review is, Richform made me do it. But anyway, I watched his review and it was a plane former and a car former. But he did a good close-up of the packaging, and on the packaging was a picture of another bot in the range that you could get, and it's based on a figure, and Richform was trying to find the words for what bot it was, but he couldn't find it at the time. I just so happened to have said figure, and I got it down out off the shelf and had a little play with it and decided, I know, let's do a review. So, impromptu review time. Revenge of the Fallen Breakaway. Now, I picked this guy up back in January at the NEC Toy Fair, and he was in this big box full of loose bots that I went for a rummaging through, and he was one of the bots I picked up. At the time, I had a quick play with him, and I couldn't figure out how to transform him properly. But he looked kind of interesting, and I thought this guy requires further investigation, so I picked him up, and I brought it home, and I had a more detailed examination of the toy and a fiddle with it, and did some research on it, figured out who it was because I didn't know who it was at the time, and then I transformed it, and I thought, yes, robot mode has got a major issue, but more on that later. Let's talk about the plane mode. Now, Breakaway is, I believe, based on the F-35 Lightning, aka the Joint Strike Fighter, and he's quite a good representation of that jet. Also, he's a very successful plane former, because if you look side view, yes, he's got robot kibble here, but it forms quite a compact fuselage, which is unusual. Most robot plane formers, they scrunch all the robot mode bits underneath and you've got legs and arms sticking out all over the place. But this guy, he compacts together quite successfully, and he's a reasonably good looking plane mode. I mean, he's got quite a lot of paint apps. He's got these sort of circuit board type, tattoos on his wings, sort of Cybertronian-ish tattoos on his wings, a la, Starscream from Revenge of the Fallen. And yeah, he's a very good looking little plane. Also, the other reason why I bought him, he's an Autobot plane former. That makes him rare because apart from Jetfire, Powerglide and the aerial bots, the Autobots haven't really got many plane formers to speak of. So that makes this guy unique in that he's one of the very few Autobot plane formers. I mean, Decepticons riddled with plane formers, but Autobots, they didn't do so many. So this guy, and as far as I'm aware, he was unique to the Revenge of the Fallen toy line. I mean, in the movies, they did the basic bots, but they also fleshed the toy lines out with some extra figures that they invented. And they, you had to hunt for the Decepticon line. You had Reveal the Shield, and all those other spin-off lines that were based on the movie bots, and this is just one of those figures that they plucked out of thin air. Let's make a figure on that, and we got Breakaway. Again, jet mode, really great. I love it to bits. Accurate representation of the jet that it's based upon. Successful plane former. He is not much in the way of robo kibble hanging off the bottom, or it compacts up enough so that it forms a fairly realistic looking fuselage. And he's got landing wheels that work. I mean, okay, on the bottom these are the landing wheels, but he does have a nose wheel that does turn, and he rolls quite successfully. So yeah, Breakaway's alt mode, huge success, thumbs up, brilliant. Now we get to the transformation. Now this guy has a glaring fault. You can probably see it here, because if you look, the robot mode's head is actually in the cockpit. Now we'll go into this in more detail when after we've transformed it. Okay. He's fairly conventional. You can do a gear walk mode. You can pull the legs down, pull the feet out. You can sort of do a gear walk mode with this guy. Then you've got this top piece, unclip it, and I pull the tail back and pull this bit forwards, right the way forwards. You then, the arms are here, you split them, and then you pull, where is it? Sorry, just got to pull that right forwards, and then you pull the shoulders out. And the nose cone comes down the front of the body. In the back you've got the tail plane and this strut, this hinged strut, which goes up. Pull it flat against the back. You can pull these winglets, rotate, so you can pull them up. And then the arms, pull the shoulders down, reposition the arms. I know I'm not really showing you this very well. And then the wings, which drape over his shoulders. Now, I like to have them like that. You can have them the other way up, like that, but I think that makes it look stupid. So I fold them down like that, and then you fold up the winglets at the back. Now, problem with this guy is his head. It's in the cockpit, and to reveal it, all you do is you open the cockpit canopy, which is a bit of a faff. Right, so you open the canopy, and there's his head. There, in the cockpit. Now, it's recessed in the cockpit. I mean, look, you've got these shoulder pieces, and you can't see his head from the side. You can only see it from the front. He's like this. His head's buried in this pit between his shoulders, and you've got the front of the cockpit glass in front, and the main canopy above it, and it's a very tiny head. And in my opinion, you should be able to slide the head up or raise it up about, quarter of an inch, half an inch, so that it fills up this void here. And it doesn't move at all. The head is fixed. That is a huge, huge fault on the part of this figure, and it's basically, it ruins the figure, in my opinion. I was just thinking about it when they were doing the design brief on this guy at Hasbro or Takara, and they were going, I've got this great idea. Let's put the robot mode's head in the cockpit of the plane. So that in plane mode, you can see he's looking out through the cockpit like a human would, and then you transform him into robot mode, and his head pops out the cockpit. What a brilliant idea! And great concept, but in practice, it just doesn't work. They should have put the head on some kind of springing sort of gimmick, so that, like an automorph, so that when you open the canopy, the head springs up out of the cockpit and then it's got like a rotation joint on it. That's what they should have done, but they didn't. And as a result, this toy is flawed. Now, as for the rest of it, it's not too bad articulation wise. Shoulders are on a ball joint. Because of restrictions, because of the wings, they can only sort of go 180 degrees up and down, but they can go to side, in and out, He's got an elbow joint. He's got an upper arm swivel. On this arm, he's got this Gatling gun thing, which has got a thing that can turn, and it kind of makes a noise when you turn it. The other arm obviously hasn't got a gimmick, but you can do the same. The fist's on a little pivot where it can pivot inwards slightly. No head articulation. Get down to the waist. Now he does have a waist swivel. Unfortunately, it's attached to this strut that holds the back of the plane up. So if you disconnect that, you then get a waist swivel. But you've basically ruined a major part of the robot's transformation. So it locks into place and doesn't really work. The legs. Now the legs are quite interesting. No upper thigh swivel. They do have a ball joint at the top which offers a little bit of swivel, but not much. Decent knees. They don't quite go to 90 degrees. But the thing where this guy really scores is his feet and his ankles. He's got amazing feet and ankles. Now, look from the side. He's got pivoted toes and a pivoted heel spur, which can move a little bit. The heel itself is on a separate joint there, so the whole assembly can pivot backwards and forwards slightly. But that's not the good bit. People go on about ankle tilts. Look at this. 90 degrees. 90 degrees. This guy has got 180 degrees of ankle tilt. There is a slight detent in the middle for the straight up, but look at that. Isn't that amazing? You name me any other figure that's got something like that. I can't think of one. But there you go. He's a okay kind of figure. The colour palette on him, he's got this tanny colour, and then you've got the blue and the green and a bit of brown. It kind of works. He's supposed to be like in sort of like some sort of desert camouflage. But the head. They ruined this toy. Toy ruined by one design aesthetic. Whole toy ruined. And it's a shame because he's such a good plane former. He's such an unqualified success as a plane former. And he's an Autobot plane former. There just isn't enough of them. Autobots do cars and trucks. They don't do planes very well. But, oh dear. They could have done a bit more. I mean, he's got a kind of interesting head sculpt. It's like he's got like a gas mask thing on. And he has got some light piping, but it doesn't work. Very dark blue light piping, but I've tried shining a bright LED in there and I just can't get the bloody thing to work. And his head's so small, it's teeny tiny. I suppose it was that size just so they could fit it inside the cockpit. But it's a pity because it ruins what could have been a great toy. And it's, you know, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about this guy. I hope you've enjoyed my little review. It's a shame I had to end on a sour note because, like I said, this isn't a bad toy. It's just a shame it's just ruined by one little design aesthetic that's just ruined the whole thing. There. Well, there you go. That's me, done for a bit. Have I got anything to say on the end of this video? Yes, I've not been buying so many bots this month. I have pre-ordered 3 third-party bots from Kapow Toys, but God knows when they'll arrive. I've also pre-ordered a it's not a third-party bot. It's coming from Korea, so that should give you a little clue. Don't know when that's going to arrive, but I'm hoping it will arrive because the only other person I've seen in the West reviewing these toys is Ben's Collectibles, and he hasn't done this one yet, so I want to get it and be the first person in the West to review this said toy. But I'm not going to tell you what it is until it arrives. All I'm going to say is King of Kibble. He is the King of Kibble, and I will hopefully be reviewing him the second he lands. But I'm not expecting him to arrive for a week or two. He might not arrive this month, but we will see. That will probably be the next bot I review. I have been toying with the idea of doing a chewing the fat, but I haven't really got enough things to talk about in it, so forget that. And also there's this this meet going on, is it next weekend up at Manchester on the Saturday morning outside Primark, 11:30. There's a bunch of TFYTC guys are going to have a meet up. I might be able to make an appearance at that because I'm up at Bury that weekend, but it means blowing off the voluntary work that I do up at Bury on Saturday morning to go to the meet. Well, we'll see how it goes, but I might make an appearance at the Northern meet. Anyway, that's me done. I will see you next time. Ta-ta!